Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, we learned a little bit more about the professor, that prolific murderer from 10 years ago. It seems his instrument of choice was a dog, a big ol' hound of the Baskervilles. It must be tied to that bloodied, jeweled dog collar we found in the gas theft case. I guess that's one way of calling it. And, someone who says they saw this murderer, the professor, rise from the grave, it turned out to be Enoch Drebber, the very same engineer we're trying to track down. And to that end, we've actually arrived at his workshop. We heard suspicious sounds, what sounded like him running away, and now we found this room in the back that looks like it was turned upside down. Literally. And now Herlock Sholmes is telling us what the hell happened here. So, let's get going. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that? Indeed. The key Oh. Well, hey. That's an interesting place to keep the combination of your safe, but okay. Indeed, the key here is gravity. Oh, this is cool. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normality. Goodness! The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Miss Usato. I, too, was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity device, almost identical to one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact. But then why does it have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. That is a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment the restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So you see, we need look no further to explain the state in which we now find this room. The direction in which gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Drebber, before being restored to normality in an automatic fashion sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. Wow. Gravity. Do you believe in gravity? Topic 2. Missing engineer. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madame. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Drebber's aim was singular, to escape. However, there is but one way into this room, excepting the skylight, that is. Oh, they're having fun with this. By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling. and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way. Oi. This reminds me, when I was like a little kid, like 8 or 9-ish, I would sometimes lay on the carpet and just stare up at the ceiling and pretend what I would do if gravity reversed and the ceiling became the floor. I'm nostalgic.
But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. If the gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Mr. Trevor have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently?
Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution.
Oh, the rope.
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Dripper was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And, personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun. Me too. Escaped via the skylight. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Hooray! Yeah, that's about the correct reaction. That's also correct, just ignore him. Focus on Toby. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there's just one thing that troubles me. I would expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean? I would say that with this man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century, it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis.
But your whole deduction hinges on it.
Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. But you eliminated it, so it's not something that remains. But however improbable it may seem, but it's a marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? One of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. Yeah, I guess Ryunosuke is gonna pass that down his bloodline. I had Iris come up with the exact phrasing. My original was clumsy. Yes, I have a feeling I've read it in something that Miss Usato lent me once.
Objection!
Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, the spell's broken at last.
The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it?
Indeed it was, in lonely coils near the wall.
But if Mr. Trevor had used it to escape in a way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall?
Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find do ropes. And as evidence of such, you need only look at the mystery we faced in this room, now skillfully unraveled. That argument is as circular as the coils of rope.
I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. I'm sure with some minor corrections, the great detective's great deduction will lead us to the truth.
Yes, you're right. We must do it quickly, before Enoch Drubber gets too far away. If you're ready, then let us resume. Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. With pleasure, sir. With pleasure. Oh. Oh, this is gonna be good. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor.
Every item in the room was on the ceiling? Are you suggesting that?
Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normality.
Goodness!
The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business.
To think gravity could have been reversed in this very room. I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation.
But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so...
Yes, you're quite right. We must completely discount the idea at once.
Oh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mr. Sato.
When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he?
While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices.
Yes, I suppose so.
Well, let's see if examining this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely reveals some proof that shows exactly what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. Well, we have this perfectly upright vase. I saw the flowers poking out from behind the bedpost.
All the furniture in here is very conspicuously upside down, certainly.
Yes, it does immediately put you in mind of some strange quirk of gravity, I admit.
Ah, could it be that a mini whirlwind passed through here, do you think?
I'm not sure that's much more plausible than Mr. Sholmes' explanation.
Oh dear, saying the first thing that comes into your head isn't the way forward here, it seems.
Huh, no check mark? That's odd. Thought there'd be something more to see. Ah, look, Mr. Sato. When everything seems to be upside down in here, this safe is conspicuously the right way up. Have you noticed?
Yes, that's true. But look more closely at the safe's feet.
Ah, that's a lot of very large bolts fixing it to the floor. Think before you speak, that's what you wanted to say, isn't it? I really put my foot in my mouth there.
I certainly didn't say that.
Yeah. Well. I wasn't expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure.
Ah, look at that.
I know. That slender little vase looks like it's about to topple at any moment, but the flowers are thriving. Somehow it makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say?
To be honest, Mr. Naruhodo, something else about it made a rather deeper impression on me.
Yeah, it's not shattered. If it fell from the ceiling, it would surely be broken.
Take that!
The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo, you've surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Haha. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes, trust me. As you rightly say, though it appears at first glance that all the furniture in this room is upside down, this unassuming slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all.
My deepest sympathies for your loss. Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes.
But the show must go on, so let us continue with our deductions. Now that we know this contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility.
You don't say.
Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here.
Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that?
Quite. And naturally, there is an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device.
He's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he? I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong. Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over. So whoever it was must have had a reason. I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. I just don't know. Why could someone not want to look for something that's on the underside of furniture? I just don't understand. It could be anything. We've already established that gravity wasn't actually reversed in here, haven't we? In other words, this isn't an anti-gravity device at all. Which makes me very curious to know what sort of device it is. But I think for now it's clear that we're looking for an answer elsewhere. That's a coal-burning heater, I think, isn't it? Yes, it is. But it's not just for heating, you know. You can grill on it, bake on it, boil and steam things with it. It serves all sorts of purposes. That seems like having your cake and eating it too. Not unlike a heated kotatsu with a nabe, hot pot, a mikan orange, a cat, and an elderly relative. Oh, that's warm. Oh, you mean it seems too much? I suppose perhaps it does. But you realize only some of those things on your list are edible, don't you? Hold on, wait. No, it's just the table that's inedible. Some things is plural. Just the table's inedible, if you really try. Hot pot's a kind of food dish, by the way. Oh, look, there's something written on the underside of this armchair. Wait, hold on. Okay, I know the numbers on the jumpsuits at the exhibition of the, well, not display, of the professor at the Wax Museum. There were numbers on them. Is this related? Did Drebber make his safe combination based on the professor's clothes? I forget. I want to say 32 was familiar, but I think it was like 132 or something. Yeah. Oh, yes. Safe 432582. Safe? As in safe and secure? As in secure lockable box, I think. Admittedly more likely. Well, there is a large safe bolted to the floor on the other side of the room, so yes.
So you mean this number would let us open it?
I wonder why it's written here, though.
Take that!
Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not?
Yes, last year.
When I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside cover of a book just in case. That's it, for people who are forgetful souls at heart and always make a written note of important information. I was gonna ask why Dripper would have to turn up the whole room to find his own combination. It seems he not only forgot what the number was, but what piece of furniture it was under.
Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think.
And what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruhodo? When the day of the draw came around, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in and had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it, for people are forgetful souls at heart and always forget where they've noted things down. Did you forget you said that already?
Not if you always note things in the same place.
I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I'd slipped the ticket into, so I had to... Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo, but I believe I've proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario has clearly unfolded in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. He remembered that he'd written it on the underside of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one. Leading to the state in which we now find this room. Yes, Mr. Dribber overturned all the furniture in here, in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. To find the safe combination. Dribber's in the safe right now, isn't he? Also, don't climb into safes, kids. That's how you friggin' die. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads.
Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling?
A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madame. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight.
Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how did those footprints get there?
Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve.
I can't think of any other way to explain it at all. Oh, life was so much simpler in those halcyon days when gravity could be reversed.
Oh, what a line. It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place.
Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail.
Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place. Oh, hello. Huh? Frankly, that raises more questions. What the... Oh. Wow, that's one durable balloon. He rode it up to the ceiling by standing on it? That's one durable balloon. And extremely buoyant. It carried up a full-grown man? Really? Huh. It looks like these are the only windows in the room. In other words, if you wanted to escape without using the door, these skylights would be the only way.
Yes, that's true, but even so...
And right next to the only escape route, we notice some telltale footprints.
Nevertheless, as we've said many times now, gravity can't explain how they got there.
But powerful springs in the soles of the man's shoes could. Who is he, Inspector Gadget?
Have you been having strange dreams as well, like Mr. Sholmes?
Probably. This is a gas balloon, isn't it? It's tiny, but it does seem to be a real balloon.
Yes, I think you're right. I think it's helium that's keeping it up.
A green gas balloon? Why does that seem to ring a bell with me?
If you can see, there are footprints on this balloon too. Look.
Oh, yes. Surely that's a clue, isn't it? Though what it tells us, I'm not sure. It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there, look.
Oh, yes, and there are more footprints on this little balloon, too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think?
If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Oh. Oh! Why would anyone be throwing shoes up at the ceiling, though?
Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid.
The hell? The hell?
Take that!
The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And on closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon.
But for what purpose?
A green balloon. That seems somewhat familiar, Data. Ah!
It was a piece of a green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruhodo and Iris found at the scene.
And inside the green balloon that Master Gotts claimed he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second bird cage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception.
You mean to say...
If we assume the balloon in there is a model of the one used on the day, there is a strong possibility something may be concealed inside it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach. Hence why he resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe. Ah. Most probably, Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing it with a shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights.
Oh dear. We desperately need to examine that balloon.
Couldn't he just pull over a chair, stand on the chair, and just grab the basket? I mean, he can't be that short, can he?
If only there were some way we could see inside.
You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution.
Oh, the rope.
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope?
Mr. Sholmes has managed to bring the deduction back to the rope.
Alright, I have to admit that was clever. So we just throw the rope up to the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground?
Which is much easier said than done, I feel. And could take us a very long time as well.
Dude, man, I'm 6'4". I could just probably reach it without even getting a chair. True, perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we? Alright. It's a proven theory, I guess.
Take that!
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this crossbow?
That was found at the scene, in fact.
And in all likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber. If the man had only brought it away with him that day, he could have avoided losing a shoe at such a critical time as this. So, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside that balloon? Oh. What the? Okay. I think we're looking at a Silence of the Lambs situation here. A waxwork? Indeed it is. A waxwork head inside a metal mask. A mask that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock. So we can't see the face inside, that means. Wait, was Silence of the Lambs the one with the face mask? Who ate people? I feel like it was. With the fava beans and the nice Chianti? Yeah, that one.
Just a moment. This is the head of a waxwork model? Does that mean... Oh, goodness.
I see you've joined the dots, Miss Usato. Excellent. Ah, of course. A headless waxwork model. The case of the abducted Madame Two-Spells model that you'd largely solved. It was only the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed it was. But I believe Madame Two-Spells will now have to settle her sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous Professor. Yes.
But why is it here?
This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing the Professor from Madame Two-Spells and returning it, whatever the hell that is, earlier today, was none other than Enoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Hairbrain's case and the waxwork abduction are... They're inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. Oh. Well, it appears our logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure.
The architect?
You mean Mr. Drebber? As it seems quite impossible that he escaped via one of the skylights, obviously the man must still be here in the room.
What?
And his location should be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made together during this deduction, Enoch Drebber is right here, somewhere in this room? So, Mr. Naruhodo, will you do the honors? Yes, of course. Mr. Drebber's hiding place must be the... He's in the cupboard, clearly.
This looks to be a cupboard for cups and saucers and the like.
Ah, an ingenious hiding place.
Oh, is it?
Well, when you say cupboard, you automatically think of cups and saucers, don't you? And the clever engineer knows that, so he knows you never look for him in there because he's not crockery. Someone here's a crock-pot.
Though sadly it does seem to be full of only crockery.
Crackpot, rather. If you need to hide, there's no better place than a wardrobe. I stand firmly by that.
Ah, yes. You had some experience of that yourself a year ago, didn't you?
We'll find him in there, mark my words. He'll be curled up in a ball, trembling and hungry. Oh yeah, definitely from experience. In fact, my own hand is trembling just thinking about making the discovery.
Never mind, Mr. Naruhodo. He could be hiding somewhere else, you know.
Look at all that mess in front of the safe.
Yes, plans and accounting ledgers.
Almost as if somebody was in a hurry to empty the contents of the safe, in fact.
Take that!
Before we gained access to this back room, we heard noises from in here. Which tells us that the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was in fact searching for the combination to his safe. And pressed for time, made no attempt to right the furniture that he overturned in the process. From which we can deduce that his search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is at this very moment inside the safe. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. That's more like it. I knew you had it in you. Oh, this better be good. I want answers right now. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide-and-seek, don't you? By opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see. The combination was 1...
432582.
I knew that. All right then, here goes. He has a cool robot hand. Oh, he's so cool. You found me. What a sharp dress. Oh, wow. He's so cool. He looks like he could be the protagonist of a very edgy anime. Or no, he'd be an edgy villain in a normal anime. Yeah. Right then, sir. Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume. Oh, they had fun animating this guy. You know, I seem to recall Hairbrain talking about a bunch of his features. The long white hair, the black monocle, the suit. Didn't really mention the badass mechanical hand. Oh, man. Okay, what kind of voice do I give this man? I'm tempted to go like nasally robotic and all that, but no, that'd be really annoying after a while. Just kind of light and smooth, maybe. Correct. You'd better start talking. You tricked Professor Hairbrain with that bogus machine you built.
And you shall have to explain the theft of the waxwork from Madame Dispels as well. Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions, personally, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first.
Deactivate?
Your parcel?
I refer, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in a most prominent position.
Ah!
I see. Stunned silence. You're all gearing up to die with me then?
No!
Oh my.
Mr. Sholmes, with only 7 seconds to spare. That was too close for comfort. I've got 1 foot in the grave already.
And you, trying to help us get a killer or get us killed? Oh, are you? Yeah.
Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they?
Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say.
Anti-gravity devices don't exist.
Phew. I wouldn't push it, Mr. Sholmes. She has a short fuse. Heh. Badumtish. So, did we actually ever examine the room ourselves? I forget if we did. No, yeah, I think we did. No harm in looking at it some more, though. I still can't believe we were nearly blown up. What was that sideways glance in aid of, Mr. Naruhodo? I thought that deducing meaning from the movement of people's eyes was your specialty, Mr. Sholmes.
Never mind that now. Let's see what Mr. Drebber has to say for himself.
Oh. Nothing new with the safe. Or the footprints. Okay, it's all the same. Well, before we talk to you... let's present some stuff, starting with our armband. It might surprise you to learn that I'm actually a lawyer from the Empire of Japan. I detest lawyers. They wield so-called special powers in an attempt to grind down our freedoms. Yes, let me be quite clear. I detest lawyers very much. Any chance 2 negatives make a positive? Looks like he has negatives and positives on his coat. Pluses and minuses. Mr. Drebber, look at this, please. Do you, have anything to say about it? Yeah, if he was busking on the street, I'd tip him. Are these strange mechanical movements supposed to be some sort of answer? It's interpretive dance. Oh, it's very funny in fast motion. I think he's not gonna talk about too much. Yeah, no. How about Andrew? No? How about you when you were young? Grr. Yeah, no, we got nothing on this guy. It's just the armband. Unless the trophy... No, okay. Enough beating around the bush. Let's talk. What on earth happened in here? You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems. Yeah, well, we'll be giving it the thorough going over, don't you worry, Drebber. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop that I was not expecting. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt.
Whistling?
Ah, that would have been me.
Oh.
For some reason, I woke in fine fettle today. No words, just tightly squeezed chips.
Clearly I must have a screw loose, though, as I couldn't remember the combination for the safe. And another one loose, as I couldn't remember on which piece of furniture I'd written it down.
We also found a rope over by the wall.
Yes, I had hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So I then set about searching for the combination code to open the safe. And burning the incriminating blueprints, don't forget. Regrettably, though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters.
And after that, you hid yourself inside the safe, having first set this parcel ticking.
Well, I had no intention of being nailed by the police. Got a death wish, have ya? Hiding right beside a ticking time bomb? Please, why do you suppose I chose to hide inside the safe? It's no ordinary safe, it's specially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't leave a scratch on it. So, in fact, the safe was the only safe place. Precisely. But once you'd climbed inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again. I invite you to look more closely. The safe is fitted with a handle on the inside to allow the door to be unlocked from within. Ah, so it is. I had always intended to blow this place to smithers in any case. I just wasn't expecting uninvited guests to come along and screw up my plans. Do you mean to say you are planning to blow us all up? No, that was unforeseen. What do you mean? Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. Ah. I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance and set the device accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works. Is something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face, besides the usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth? I think we have a fairly good idea of what's been going on here now. But what about the two incidents you've evidently been involved in recently? Professor Harebrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the Professor. Clad in a mask with a lock so strong, I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection. That's enough? Oh, hello. What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here. Yes, well, Dr. Scythe again, so the forensic investigation team are here. And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer access to him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once. My dear madame, there's no need for such a threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to greet an old acquaintance, is it, Dr. Scythe? Oh. Hello, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Scythe? If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you are quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell, you... get out.
But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
It would appear that our delightfully entertaining investigations have run their course for today.
But Mr. Sholmes...
Let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands.
I said get out. Now, all of you. Your presence here is not required either, Gregson.
Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I head off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place, and the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There was a time bomb set in here that this lot disarmed. Inspector. Cuh? Oh, he's even laughing like a weirdo anime villain. Something giving you a chuckle, has it, Drebber?
Ah, so sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes, you did disarm that one. Huh? What are you... That one? You mean...
Oh, no. Oh, they're dead. They're really dead. It was an hour later that we heard the news of the enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage of the Great Exhibition. Professor Harebrain's invention and all its secrets were blown away forever. Oh no. That's alarming. What a sour, dour note to end things on. Yeah, good morning to you, sir, too. Oh, wow. Wow. I guess that tracks. Everything we know about Drebber points to him being very particular about leaving no trace and vanishing completely and utterly. It's only the accidental scraps of oil put on a business card that gave him away. Like, he couldn't even account for that because we learned that Britain doesn't really even use dogs in police work. The idea of police using a hound to track his scent of anything he's left behind would just... Oh man. What a terrifyingly intelligent man who is... Yeah, wow, that's scary. What the hell is this guy's deal? He works as a doctor or scientist in a museum. Then he like graduated an academy, got accolades, a trophy. Then like 10 years later, he's a friggin' mustache-twirling supervillain who blows up public spaces and colludes with the rich to, well, no, maybe not even that. What the hell is his deal? I just don't know what his motivation possibly is. clearly it's related to the professor in some way. The man stole the waxwork of him and kept the head as a memento. You know, I want to bet that Trevor said that he would want to crack the lock on the Iron Mask to see the true identity of the professor, but it's not going to be anything. No, why would it be? The professor's identity was never revealed to the public. The dude was apparently hanged to death at the site of the prison and then promptly buried. I think the mask, the Iron Mask, is either just artistic expression and or a convenient cover-up to get around the fact that they don't actually know what the man looked like. I feel like if you just cracked open the Iron Mask and looked at the wax underneath, it would be mostly featureless and obviously incomplete. It was always intended to have the mask around it. So, I mean, I'm guessing the guy killed Odie Asman too, but I mean, who else could it be? Like, looking at the list of everyone here, it's clearly none of the people on this page. And on this page... Okay, honestly, I could see it being Dispels, Balthazar, or Enoch. Could be any of them, but I really doubt it's Balthazar. And I don't have a single shred of anything connecting Dispels to Asman, so... Oh, what? He's still called Bohemian Boy in the notes? Put some respect on his name. He's Wilfred Gottfried Sigismund Ormstein. Yeah, nailed it. Surely something like that. Respect on the name, I say. Well, anyway. Entertaining as usual, what with the great deduction. God, I'm just freaking out. I just don't understand. I sure know I'm very, very excited for this trial session because I think it's going to be very enlightening. Not just to the truth of this whole mess involving Asman and Hairbrain and everyone, but I think there might be a few crumbs here and there about the overarching conspiracy. Not to mention, Kazuma's gonna be in the prosecution stand. He's gonna stand at Van Zieks' side. That's gonna be really interesting. Oh boy. I'm excited. I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.